They looked like the perfect family, smiling photos, birthday parties, quiet neighbors. But behind the closed doors of this suburban home, one family member would vanish, and the truth hidden beneath that house would shock even veteran detectives. Tonight, you're about to hear the story of a family that pretended everything was normal while living on top of a lie. And the most terrifying part, the crime didn't happen in the dark. It happened in plain sight. The Whitmore family lived on a quiet street where nothing ever seemed to happen. Neighbors described them as private but polite. The parents, Daniel and Rebecca, had been married for 18 years. They had 2 children, stable jobs, and no history with the police. From the outside, they were the definition of normal. But inside the house, things were already breaking. There were arguments behind closed doors, financial pressure no one talked about, and control issues that never reached the ears of neighbors. But the walls heard everything. At the center of it all was their 16-year-old daughter, Emily. She was smart, quiet, and increasingly withdrawn. Teachers noticed the change, so did friends. But no one imagined how her story would end, because one cold Tuesday morning, Emily didn't come downstairs for breakfast. At first, Rebecca assumed her daughter was sick or sleeping in. But as hours passed, concern turned into panic. By noon, Emily still hadn't answered any calls. Her phone went straight to voicemail. When Rebecca checked her room, she found something strange. Emily's backpack was still there. Her shoes were still by the door. Her bed looked as if it hadn't been slept in. By evening, the family contacted the police. Officers arrived and searched the house. Daniel told them Emily had been rebellious lately and that they'd argued the night before. He offered what seemed like a simple explanation. He believed she had run away. But to investigators, the scene didn't match that story. No money was missing. No packed clothes. No goodbye note. It didn't look like a runaway. It looked like a controlled disappearance. The police began questioning friends, teachers, and neighbors. No one had seen Emily leave. No one reported a struggle. And no one could explain how a 16-year-old vanished without leaving a single trace behind. Then investigators returned to the house. Everything looked ordinary, almost too ordinary. The living room was clean, the kitchen spotless. Even Emily's room looked untouched. But one detail stood out. The basement door was locked. Fresh paint covered the walls, and there was a sharp chemical smell in the air. When officers asked for the key, Daniel hesitated. That hesitation was all they needed. Police forced the door open. Inside the basement, they found signs of recent cleaning. The floor was damp, the walls were stained, and in one corner, the concrete looked new, newer than the rest of the foundation. Detectives ordered it to be broken open. Underneath the concrete, they found human remains. The missing person case instantly became a homicide investigation. Daniel was arrested that same night. After 14 hours of questioning, he broke, but what he confessed to was worse than anyone expected. He didn't act alone. Rebecca knew, and so did their older son. The entire family had been part of the cover-up. On the night Emily disappeared, an argument erupted inside the home. It began, like so many before it, shouting accusations, years of tension, finally boiling over. But this time, it went too far. One violent push, one terrible fall, one fatal impact. Emily was dead. Instead of calling for help, instead of calling an ambulance, the family made a decision that would destroy them all. They would hide what they had done. For 3 days, the family worked together in silence. They cleaned the basement. They purchased concrete from different stores to avoid suspicion. They destroyed Emily's phone. Then they reported her missing. They stood in front of cameras and begged for her return. They spoke to police with trembling voices. They posted photos online begging the public to help find their daughter, all while her body lay buried beneath their feet. Weeks later, when the remains were discovered, the town erupted in disbelief. People who had prayed with the family now watched them taken away in handcuffs. At trial, the courtroom was packed. Evidence revealed every step of the cover-up. Surveillance footage showed the concrete purchases. Phone records exposed the lies. And forensic testing confirmed what detectives already knew. The family that smiled for the cameras had buried their own daughter under their home. Daniel was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Rebecca received 40 years. Their son, who had been a minor at the time, was sent to juvenile detention and later transferred to adult custody. The house still stands today, but no one will live there. Neighbors say the basement light sometimes appears on at night, even though the power was shut off years ago. And Emily's bedroom remains untouched, frozen in time. A teenager who should have grown up, had her life ended by the very people meant to protect her. A family that chose to protect an image instead of protecting their child. And that leaves one final question that still divides everyone who learns this case. Does silence make someone just as guilty as the killer?